Imagine if I revealed that Red Bull Racing's radical transformation may have been born out of the most adverse situation possible. That the team's new boss has just openly confessed that the current car is a real pain to drive. Laurent MEKIES was blunt when discussing the RB21, and his statements could completely revolutionize our view of the future of the team that has reigned supreme in Formula One in recent years. Consider the magnitude of this responsibility. Laurent MEKIES, a 48-year-old French engineer, recently took over the leadership of Red Bull Racing, replacing Christian Horner, who was dismissed immediately after the British Grand Prix. 2 decades of experience, 4 consecutive Constructors' Championships, and now all that heritage rests on the shoulders of someone who must revitalize a team in sharp decline. The Belgian Grand Prix marked his first official appearance as team principal, and it was precisely at that moment that reality presented itself in a mercilessly transparent manner. To understand the true magnitude of the challenge facing MEKIES, we must go back a few seasons. Red Bull's decline did not begin recently. Back in 2024, when McLaren introduced devastating upgrade packages that enabled the Woking-based team to win the Constructors' Championship, the first warning signs began to appear. Sergio Pérez, who at that time was still Red Bull's second driver, began a worrying run of inconsistent results, leaving Max Verstappen virtually alone in the point-scoring battle. However, what really worries Red Bull is the fact that even 4-time world champion Max Verstappen faces considerable obstacles in getting performance out of the RB21. And when a competitor of Verstappen's stature acknowledges that the car is difficult to drive, everyone understands that the issue goes far beyond what is apparent on the surface. The situation has become so delicate that Yuki Tsunoda, currently Red Bull's second driver, has been systematically outperformed not only by his direct rivals, but also by his own Racing Bulls teammates. The weekend at Spa-Francorchamps simultaneously exposed the expectations and fears of the new MEKIES management. On the one hand, Verstappen achieved an impressive victory in Saturday's sprint race, starting from second place behind McLaren's Oscar Piastri and demonstrating that there is still potential in the Red Bull engine. On the other hand, for Sunday's main race, Verstappen only managed 4th place on the starting grid, a result that in previous seasons would have been interpreted as a real failure by Milton Keynes' team standards. However, there is one aspect that few have noticed. For the first time in the 2025 season, all Red Bull-affiliated drivers finished in the top 10 in qualifying. Tsunoda was 7th, Isaac Hadjar 8th for Racing Bulls, and Liam Lawson 9th, also representing the sister team. Initially, this situation could suggest a positive sign, but in reality, it exposes something much more disturbing. The main Red Bull Racing team is no longer able to differentiate itself significantly from its satellite teams. The changes implemented at Spa were MEKIES' big strategy to start turning things around. It was a comprehensive package that included revisions to the front wing, side pod inlets, engine cover, suspension, and rear ends. The goal was clear: to find greater stability and predictability, 2 qualities that the RB21 desperately needed. But did it work? And so we come to the most revealing moment of the entire weekend. After the race, MEKIES was questioned by the specialist media about the effectiveness of the modifications, and his response was a real reality check for any excessive optimism. With a blunt honesty rarely seen in the Formula One paddock, Red Bull's new boss acknowledged that, although it is difficult to provide much background due to his recent appointment, the signs are encouraging but inadequate. Is the team satisfied with the package in terms of, does it provide performance for the car? Yes. Does it offer enough? No. Does it solve all the balance limitations we have? No. It's as simple as that. So we still have some work to do, MEKIES said with complete transparency. This honesty is refreshing, but equally terrifying for Red Bull fans. What does this mean in reality? It means that even with the modifications, the RB21 remains a problematic car, complex to set up, and a considerable distance from the supremacy the team enjoyed between 2022 and 2023. It means that Max Verstappen, as skilled as he is, can no longer perform miracles on his own. And it means that Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri's McLaren, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari, and even George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli's Mercedes are now at a technical level very close to or even superior to that of Red Bull. But MEKIES also clarified that there are no questions about whether they delivered performance for the car. We realize that we did. Obviously, we can't ignore the fact that McLaren also had a package this weekend. So it's the usual development race between all the teams. This statement reveals a reality that Red Bull hasn't faced in years. They are no longer the only ones capable of developing the car consistently. The situation becomes even more dramatic when we consider that there are only a few months left before the 2026 season, which will introduce significant regulatory changes in Formula One. If Red Bull fails to solve the fundamental problems of the RB21 quickly, it could enter the new regulatory cycle at a disadvantage, something that was inconceivable a few years ago. The responsibility on MEKIES is colossal. Not only does he need to solve the immediate technical problems, but he also needs to rebuild the confidence of a team that has become accustomed to winning. Max Verstappen, even as a four-time champion, understands that his fifth consecutive title is far from assured. And for the first time in a long time, the Dutchman will need to genuinely count on the help of his teammate, Yuki Tsunoda, something that hasn't happened since the golden days of Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. The most paradoxical thing about this whole situation is that MEKIES' brutal honesty may be exactly what Red Bull needs. After years of optimistic statements and unfulfilled commitments, having a leader who openly admits problems and works to solve them could be the first step toward recovery. But is there enough time? Formula One in 2025 is more competitive than ever. Lewis Hamilton arrived at Ferrari as a seven-time world champion, determined to win his eighth title. Charles Leclerc is at the peak of his career. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri form one of McLaren's most promising duos, and even young drivers such as Andrea Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes and Gabriel Bortoleto at Sauber are showing impressive speed. MEKIES' Red Bull Racing needs a technical miracle, and it needs it fast. Every race lost now could mean a whole year of suffering. The question remains, will Laurent MEKIES be able to restore Red Bull to its status as a dominant team, or will we witness the end of an era of absolute success? One thing is certain. 2025 could be the year that defines the future of Red Bull Racing for the next 10 years. What do you think? Will Red Bull be able to recover, or are we witnessing the beginning of the end of a dynasty? Share your opinion in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any analysis of the hottest behind-the-scenes action in Formula One.